Hello, I'm Jantien Powell. This is Chapel Cottage Studio. We're going to be using pastels again today. We've done a summer sky in a previous video. Now we're going to do a stormy sky. And again, I'm using Unison pastels, which are my favourite make. Very, very nice pastels, very soft and creamy. They layer up well on the paper. They have a fantastic colour range. And I'm using Fabriano Tiziano paper, which is my personal favourite. It's got a nice tooth to it, comes in a fantastic range of colours. My background for this is a wine red paper, beautiful colour, and it will lend some atmosphere to the painting. So let's get started. I'm going to put a little line where I'm going to have a very small amount of landscape. This picture is about the sky, not the landscape. I'm starting with my white pastel. You can see that I've broken the pastel in half because I think a whole pastel is too long to use. First thing I always do with them is peel the paper off and break them in half, which seems terrible, but you have to do it to use them properly. I'm using it on its side, so I've got a nice flat edge, and I'm going to block in colour with it. So I'm going to start with a white. I'm going to start with a bit of light that's in my stormy sky. And I'm going to sort of make an area for this light to be. It's going to go up there and maybe a little bit going off to one side. Nice lots of pastel so I can blend it in later. Having put in the light, I'm going to go in the opposite direction and I'm going to put in the darkest areas. And I'm using a navy blue. Unison are one of the few makes that do a wonderful range of dark colours. And my navy blue is going to give me some dark corners up here. And I'm going to take it down almost all the way to the white. Nice dark corner up here. And as I come down, it's going to fizzle out a little bit. Here and there I'm starting to take some cloud shapes into the white. We're not going to take too long over this sky. Don't have to take long over them. So I've got some dark on there. Now I'm going to change. I've got a little bit of nice pink here. And I'm going to use this to overlap some of these colours. It's going to change when you put it on top of the navy blue. And again, I'm going to break it in half. Take the paper off because it'll use much better then. Now I'm going to start breaking up my dark shapes and light shapes with a bit of different colours. And I'm putting them in over the top. At the moment, it's all going to look a bit ugly. You've got to wait, and then blend it all in later on. Giving myself an idea of where everything is happening on my picture. Oh, that's nice colour down there. Put a bit more of that in over here. I've got to try very hard not to make it symmetrical because we do tend to be drawn to making the picture symmetrical. I'm also going to use a little bit of a mustardy yellow in my painting. It's nice in a stormy sky. Not too much of it. Too much won't work, but I'm going to put a little bit here and there. There we are. Go back in, and my final one is a wonderful turquoise. Break him in half. Always try to keep it whole and pretty, but it doesn't work so well. Put a bit of that in, a little bit down there perhaps. I've got to go right down to the land, of course. I'm going to put a bit of white on top of that to keep it pale down there. Right, having got all those on there, again, this is the ugly stage. Now I can start to blend them all in a little bit. I'm using fingertips to blend because I want to keep things separate. So clean fingers. And I'm starting at the white and I'm going to push it into the paper. Do all the white bit first, then I can work out to the other colours. And as I blend them, they're going to pull into each other and make beautiful colours, lovely shapes. I have to keep trying to think a little bit about cloudy shapes, which are always a little bit puffy on top and they tend towards a horizontal at the bottom. So as I'm coming along my clouds, they're coming across the paper. Into the middle, this is just the first coat. Nice dark corners up the top. And once I've got all of that blended in, I can stand back and have a look and see where I want to go with it. We've already got quite a nice start of a stormy sky. And can you see that there are little bits of the red paper showing through, which gives it lots and lots of atmosphere. I'm going to go back into my white. I'm going to bring up the lit areas again with my white. I like that bit up there. We'll keep that bit. And then I'm going to bring the clouds back over the top. Whenever you're doing this, you must remember that the white is the light. The dark clouds are coming on top of the white, not the white shapes on top of the dark. Always the dark clouds coming across the light. Maybe I'll lighten up a little bit up here. Just make that a little paler. That's nice. Bit of a paler cloud coming in there. So I'm lightening up my dark shapes just a bit so they're not all the same. Always stand back from your work as well. Stand back and have a look. I think I need a little bit more pink up here. I find some of that yellow a little bit strong. So I'll temper it down a little bit with a bit more pink. Get something else happening up there. There we are, that's quite a nice stormy sky. I may make some of my dark a little bit darker. Let's get a bit of a cloud coming across here. You see how it's going in a horizontal direction. Don't like that bit, we'll change that. And you always, the wonderful thing about pastels is that you can just carry on changing. Yes, that's a nice shape up there. I like that. And I'm going to darken this corner again as well. Maybe come down through here with a bit of that dark shape. Get something happening there. I like that little glimmer of light. Just soften the edges of it. That's quite nice. And I'm just going to change this a little bit down there. Dark cloud across there. And I think I'm just going to bring up my white again, really hard at the bottom. Fetch my cloud back through the top of it. So the cloud is over the top of the white. I want a lot of white across the bottom here, because when I put a landscape on the bottom of this, we want the landscape to be lit by the white behind it. So let's just make sure we've got white across the bottom. Now I'm just fiddling with little bits, trying to make everything exactly how I want it. You can't completely control these shapes. It's quite nice to think rather more about colour than shape. So wherever you feel your colours need to be to balance your picture, you pop them in. Right, I think that's quite nice. We'll finish this little clip with a bit of a landscape across the bottom. Let's bring some of those colours from the top into the landscape down here. Let's take a bit of light across there. And let's put some little trees along here, a little horizon line. These are no different to doing the sky and the clouds really. It's all just puffy shapes. But you see how they show up against that pale background. They really look storm-lit. You must, if you're putting in some little trees and some little hedges, you must make really sure that you're not putting them all the same size and all at the same regular interval, because that looks dreadful. You must do a little bit of making it random. I'm going to add some of the colours from the sky onto these. Get a bit of storm light on them and a little bit of the pink as well. And it just brings the colour from there down to there. It'll bring your picture together, because your picture must be cohesive, the top and the bottom. That was my big word for the day. Now I'm going to come in from the bottom corner, make a little bit of perspective going in here, up into the field, come back in with some of these light colours. Get a bit of distance in there with this perspective and a little bit of this colour as well. And with perspective, all these lines are going into the middle of the field. And there we are. I might just soften them the tiniest bit. I've got quite a lot of the paper coming through there, which I rather like. And I'll just stop it being too carefully choreographed, as it were. Take a couple of across lines as well, just to break it up. There we are, and we've got a stormy sky over a little landscape. Thank you very much for watching.